Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this Warcraft Rumble dungeon guide, I'm going to take a look at Gnomeregan on Cenarion week and this Cenarius army that I used for clearing a level 22 dungeon. First, let's take a quick look at the Gnomeregan dungeon mechanics. The first boss, Crowd Pummeler, melee cannon attacks and knock player minis off the platform, and yeah, they do. However, flying minis, when they get knocked off the platform, they can just fly back. When ground minis get knocked off the platform, even in some of these gaps, they're just gone. So the main plan for this one is to take this meeting stone and then start attacking it from both sides. With ranged units, Chimera, I suppose, is the best one. Chimera can just do so many things, and it can also recover from being knocked back, but any ranged units really can handle it if you send them from both sides so that the boss can't knock them all down quickly enough. Then there's also these protective devices: Gnomish Harm Prevention Belt, limited time protection, known to attract gnomes if left sitting too long. So these give the minis temporary shield, but also if they're here for a while, then a safe pilot will spawn and from the boss's side and grab them and then start attacking you. So you want to pick these up when you have time to use that, but the main thing is to get this stone and get these attacks from two sides going. The second boss, Electrocutioner 6000, is the most annoying and most difficult boss in all of the dungeons in this game, because you're just going to be swarmed by so many minis. It has rocket towers, so you can't outrange rocket towers, and these rocket towers also have this kind of mist around them that deals elemental damage to your minis. The boss itself deals a whole bunch of elemental damage, so you'd kind of want to tank it with something resistant. Even a Quillbore will do, but also Fire Elemental used to be pretty sweet when it could also tank the rocket towers, but nowadays it doesn't do that nearly as effectively. So you need something to take the rocket towers. Sappers with rocket boots is the best option. If they don't have rocket boots, then at least one of the sappers is going to die, because slow sappers just are not fast enough to get underneath of the rocket. But rocket boot sappers, even if they're one-on-one against tower, they will be able to hit the tower. Gargoyle is another fine one. It's also armored, so it does pretty good job here. If you don't have rocket boots on your sappers, you probably want to use a gargoyle. And once you get both towers, you really have to get some towers here. Then you want to attack the boss and use a resistant tank to turn the boss around and then get some damage on it from behind. For example, Chimera can be very strong, but resistant tanks are the key to getting to the boss. And if you win the second map, you have basically won the dungeon, because Mekgineer Thermaplugg is not much of a boss. Control switches summon walking bombs for big damage. Thermaplugg has this shield here, so Thermaplugg takes very little damage otherwise, but there will be walking bombs coming over here or coming over here, depending on who is going to break through these switches. Switches cannot be claimed by flying, so you can claim them with ground troops and you can claim them with spells. You're just trying to keep minis on both sides of the map at all times, so that whenever these spawn, you get to destroy them immediately. So just go back and forth and always send miners whenever possible, because there's plenty of code here to mine and it's all very close to your base. And yeah, Thermaplugg is just a game of whack-a-mole basically, and then that's Gnomeregan. So this is my Gnomeregan army for Cenarius. I'm using Pyromancer, Quillbore, Footman, Plague Farmer, Witch Doctor, and Whelp Eggs. And yeah, as you can see, I don't use any Cenarion minis. I tried very hard. I tried all combinations, all possible Cenarion minis that you can play with, but in the end, I just could not make them work well enough. Bookbeast was kind of okay. I got some success with Fairy Dragon. All the others were just miserable. But at the highest difficulty, at red difficulty, I had to ditch them all. I did orange with still Cenarion minis in the slots, and I also did it with sappers in the squad slot. In the red difficulty, even though I was running sappers, I just could not get enough damage on the second boss, so I had to go into a bit of a different strategy, try to just brute force my way through the towers, use the Whelpex also. Tower shooting at something else, then Whelpex pop up and shoot at the tower. Of course, 21 Whelpex die before they actually get to kill a tower, even if they have unimpeded access to it, so that's kind of a problem as well. But when I say it gets difficult enough, that's just what I had to resort to, so that I had enough damage so that I wouldn't draw the second map. So for the first map, the usual strategy I have, plenty of ranged DPS here. I can just kill the first boss. For the second boss, distraction, Whelpex, then distraction again, Quillbore can distract the boss and we get some poison damage in and stuff like that, and then the final boss is just whack-a-mole, so that's pretty easy. These two minis that are not in valid slots, well, Quillbore can still do the job. It loses a bunch of health, but it still distracts. And Pyromancer Pyroblast talent means that the first shot is still going to hit very hard, and I really needed this Pyromancer because there's so much stuff coming at me, and that first hit is often very, very important. It's going to kill a bunch of stuff anyway, so even though the other hits are a little bit weaker, then still means that Pyromancer is useful. So this is the one that I had best results with, clearing red difficulty, and this is what it all looks like in action. So here we go, Gnomeregan red difficulty with Cenarius. Pretty basic stuff, splitting the footmen here so that I can walk towards both chests, and then I'm trying to get something. Oh dear, losing the Pyromancer there of course hurts a little bit, but it's fine, it's fine. Getting some tools in, Bristleback Quillboar, just killing all of those chickens. Although chickens can sometimes be quite hilarious with this, because I have the Treant talent on Cenarius, which means that, as you can see, when stuff dies, then Treants pop up. So if you have a bunch of chickens and you root them and they die, then you get a Treant army instantly there. Obviously the Treants themselves, they are quite equivalent to skeletons. So if you think that you would have an army of skeletons here, how dangerous is that? Well, sure it does something, but you can't expect too much out of the Treants. Now here we actually do get some chickens. Oh, but they didn't get rooted. No, not enough time for them to get rooted. Anyway, range DPS coming from both sides. Also Quillboar used for some little distraction, getting that Plague Farmer in. The base can handle some individual minis, like that safe pilot on the left side that's picking up the shield and then going for the base. I'm not worried about that. As long as it's alone, I'm not worried about it at all. It's when there's something like safe pilot plus a bear or something like that, then I start to get worried, because then the base is going to shoot at the bear and then the safe pilot is going to shoot at the base for a minute without the base doing anything about it. The individual minis, I'm not scared. And here we get push in, attack the boss, and boom, boss goes down. But the real menace of Gnomeregan is obviously the Electrocutioner, which has been buffed multiple times, even though it's been the most dangerous boss all the time. But yeah, that stuff just happens. So here, I don't have Sappers, I don't have Gargoyle. What I can do, I have Cenarius who's going to heal, and Cenarius is also going to get me some of those Treants, hopefully. Come on, get me some Treants. Alright, now we're starting to get some Treants, and we have some Footmen, and the Footmen are going all over the place, and Treants are going to various directions, and we have some shields. So this means that now the towers are occupied, I can drop some Whelbecks. Sadly, as you can see, the Whelbecks, even though nothing is shooting at them, just the poison damage alone is dealing enough damage to the Whelbecks are going to go down. But between this distraction and the Whelbecks, I'm able to take the first tower. And I'm also able to contest the chest. So that's a good look. And now I have those minis at the center, and that means that my Plague Farmer has a little bit of time here, trying to push against the tower. And we'll also get some Whelbecks out there. Whelbecks distract a little bit, and Witch Doctor, and boom. I managed to take both towers with this bit of a brute force distraction method. I don't like it as much as just dropping Sappers out there, but you do what you get to do. So I just could not get enough damage at the boss when I was running the Sapper build. I just ran out of damage eventually. Like, I could get to this position, then sometimes I lose the towers, sometimes I don't lose towers, and the game ends in a draw because I just can't push enough damage. And now I have Whelbecks, and Whelbecks are going to help me deal additional damage on the boss. Cenarius is trying to help the Footmen reach something. Cenarius itself is resistant, which is really nice. Cenarius is quite good at tanking the boss. The Quillboar did some tanking on the boss, and now we have the Plague Farmer, and the Plague Farmer has been dealing a bunch of damage here. Also dropping some Whelbecks out there, so damage output overall looks pretty nice. Yeah, Whelbecks doing wonderful job, even though they were killed this time, but still. Dropping some Quillboars out there so that we can get the Plague Farmer hitting in again. Just trying to get that damage in the boss. And poison being really, really useful here as well. So here we go, and we get enough damage at the boss, and the boss goes down. And that leaves Mekgineer Thermaplugg, who is more of a formality as long as you have enough ground-based minis. So we're just going to play this game of whack-a-mole. Drop stuff on one side, drop stuff on another side. Try to break all the all the vats, whatever those are, switches, and then we're just going to go and blast, and the boss is going to die. Now there is a Molten Giant, but actually Cenarius' roots were quite sweet there. Also dropping some eggs. Eggs themselves cannot pop these items, but eggs can still do a good job against Molten Giants. This time the Molten Giant actually managed to live. Bit of an awkward, but as you can see, like, even if I get fairly bad start like that, then it's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be perfectly fine. As you can see, boss has already taken more damage than my base has taken, and I'm again in perfect control of the entire area. Cenarius and all sorts of friends going. I would probably play fewer copies of Cenarius if I didn't manage to pick up the talent to the relic to bring those skeleton mages for this last map, because those just add a bit more DPS, make Cenarius a little bit more viable. But I would be able to cycle anyway, because I have plenty of cheap ground minis here, so that would be no issue whatsoever. So here we go, just playing that whack-a-mole, another beautiful kill, and another going really nicely. Now the Null Brute is going to be able to kill my Plague Farmer. That's fine. Also, just remember to mine. Mine whenever you can mine. Fast cycling, then always cycle to your miner. Miner is going to get a bunch of coins, gold. Yeah. Everything looks good, and well, the boss is already dead. Cool. So that was Gnomeregan with Cenarius at red difficulty. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.